What's good, everybody? It's your man Big Dom coming back at you another TruPlayaz podcast episode with my brother JoeyG on the one and twos. We're finally back after a 2 week hiatus of the TruPlayaz anniversary series, part four. Due to the fact that I had a death of the family, so I had to take a little breather and take care of the pet family business. But we're back now with part four, back with JoeyG. Um, Basically, we're going to recap SummerSlam 2024. The OTC returns. But before we get into that, let me have JoeyG introduce himself to the people.
What's going on? It's your man Joey G, your co-host to the True Players podcast, your host of Ego Tripping, and your co-host to Talking Random Ish with your man Ricky King. Back again, doing it again, talking about the wrestling, and just back on the saddle, talking. Let's get it.
Got you. It's great to be back with everyone here on the TruPlayaz podcast. But
Definitely, definitely.
before we get into everything about the SummerSlam and things like that, let's talk about the crowd, bro. You mentioned
Mm.
before we got in the air. It was kind of you just the energy was not there.
It's it okay. I'm gonna from the perspective that I could see. Okay,
Hmm.
there's a lot of things that I felt the WWE lacked. I guess they were trying to budget and prioritize a little bit. Maybe the pyrotechnics was a little bit more expensive than normal, but
Hmm.
y'all didn't have enough monitors for those people in those stances. I didn't come to a live event to watch something that I could see on a fucking 19-inch screen TV.
Hmm.
If I was in the nosebleed seats and I'm looking at a 19-inch monitor, nah, that's not it for me. I don't feel immersed at all. So maybe that was a little bit of the crowd's like frustration or whatever.
Hmm.
But it was a cold crowd. I've never seen that.
Hmm.
To certain wrestlers that came down, they were just like, man, it's whatever. They had their favorites. They had
Hmm.
their favorites. There was some they are amplified for. You heard reactions. The crowd got into it a little bit, but it wasn't the roar we're used to when it comes to SummerSlam.
Hmm.
Like a Vince McMahon SummerSlam or WrestleMania. You feel that shit. I didn't
Hmm.
feel that. I didn't feel the electricity like you normally feel coming into that. Triple
Hmm.
H did do a very great opening. He
Hmm.
stirred the crowd as much as he could in the beginning. I felt like they were into it, but somewhere along the line, it was just like they were cold. They were
Hmm.
cold. I got the feeling of a cold crowd, and the superstars. I don't take nothing away from them. They did the best that they could as far as turning the crowd on as much as they could and
Hmm.
igniting the ones that were involved with their matches. So it is what it is. I'm just saying I've never seen that in all the years that I've watched wrestling. I've never seen a cold crowd like that. Like as the wrestlers are coming down, they're just looking at them like a regular dude walking on the street.
Hmm.
I've never seen that, and it was only certain wrestlers.
Hmm. Now let me ask you a question. Did
Mm.
the storyline of the Bloodline versus Cody Rhodes did it put WWE such a high? They had no choice but to fall down from that.
I think they did too much too soon.
Hmm.
Too much too soon,
Hmm.
which inevitably caused two injuries.
Hmm.
It caused two injuries, but we're gonna get back. We're gonna get to that when we talk about that match. That's the last match, so we'll talk about that when we get there. I'm not gonna go into that right now because I just finished watching. It's fresh on my mind. We'll get into that because there's
I
certain
got
things that I noticed. There's certain things that I noticed in the match, and I thought it was. It wasn't till you told me after I missed it the first time to go
you.
back and watch it again. When I watched it the second time, I was like, yeah, I see it. I see it. And it made the OTC's return a little bit faster. But I digress. We'll get into that a little bit later.
We're gonna talk about that.
Re-
So I didn't think it made it too. I mean, I don't think it would made it faster. I think it was a little bit flatter. It was flatter than what it was supposed to
yeah,
be. But we'll get to that. We'll get to that.
yeah, yeah.
First things first. Let's get to the first match. My
Mhm,
girl Rhea Ripley, two of the
mhm.
flyest snow bunnies ever, going at it,
Freaking
going at
dirty
it.
Dom.
Dirty Dom is Dirty Dom's a dirt round scoundrel. You know what I'm saying? But Rhea Ripley,
No
Liv
relation.
Morgan, no relation to me at all whatsoever. But but for some reason that boy keep on winning with his choices. You know what I'm saying? He keeps on winning, so you can't knock him for that. But but the situation with Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan, it was a hell of a starter match. I mean, like I said, these two women put on a display starting
Yeah.
off with SummerSlam.
Mhm,
It kind of started off very quickly with them too. The match went
mhm,
about 15 to 20 minutes, I would say.
mhm,
Impact Wrestling. You saw Rhea Ripley, kayfabe, her shoulder was out and stuff like that. That
mhm,
she ramps her shoulder into the announce table to get it
mhm.
back into place. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Great match. Um, Rhea Ripley was about to hit her with the chair. You saw Dom grab the chair from Rhea Ripley's like, yo, listen, you're not gonna win a championship like that.
Mhm,
But at the end of the match, that chair was still got involved.
mhm.
Your thoughts, bro?
Man, I love the match. I was kind of mad at Dom, but I understand the game.
Mm-hmm.
I understand the game for what it is. I kind of seen it coming.
Mm-hmm.
I I kind of seen it coming just based off of watching Raw and stuff like that. Just seeing the lead up, and it was kind of
Mm-hmm.
iffy.
Mm-hmm.
And if we're gonna go back a little bit and say he's being astute to uh, Eddie Guerrero,
Mm-hmm.
like he's a student of every Eddie Guerrero. I kind of seen that coming.
Mm-hmm.
There's a little tales of that, but we never seen Eddie Guerrero do that with women. We've seen
Right.
him do it with other things in the match, but we never seen him do it with the women. So this is a new angle. It's something fresh. It's
Mm-hmm.
workable, and there's other key things that is gonna play down the line that I can see good for the storyline. Um, but good match altogether. I wish it was towards the end. I didn't want to see that match early on. I feel like it should have been closer to the end, before the final
Mm-hmm.
match. You could have put a Logan Paul out there first, for all I
Oh yeah.
care. I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, you start off something like that, and then work your way that way. But
Mm-hmm.
that's my only uh, negative comment as far as that match was concerned. Everything I liked. I liked the way the girls, excuse me, the women wrestled.
Mm-hmm.
Um, in the ring. There was no time where I was looking at the match like, okay, that was a miss. There was
Mm-hmm.
no, like, I was involved in it. I was like, okay, this is a great match.
Mm-hmm.
So in that, good job, WWE. Win
Got
for the
you.
team.
Listen, I felt those Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley, no botches in that match at all. It was
Hmm.
a absolutely flawless match between the two of them. No botches, nothing that stood out. They'd be like, oh shit, they probably messed up on that situation.
Good,
The only
right,
thing
good
is
communication.
exactly. The only thing was the predictable Dirty Dom turn. That's the only
Right.
thing you should have kept. They should have kept it a little bit much more close to the vest. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? That's my only drawback. You see, Liv Morgan hit her finisher on the chair
Hmm.
thanks to Dirty Dom to help her retain the championship.
Right.
And then as she's on the floor, you see Dirty. They pan the camera to Dirty Dom, and Dirty
Hmm.
Dom lifts Liv Morgan up and
Hmm.
plants her.
Hmm.
You know, kisses her around the lips. You know
Hmm.
what I'm saying?
You
And there you
bastard.
go. And you see Rhea Ripley, all disappointed.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? The
Let's
other
see.
fly mommy is all
I
disappointed.
I don't understand why you playing with that fire over there. because you know that's she's not gonna rest till you hurt,
No.
and there's somebody coming for you because she has a
Facts.
gentleman call. She has a gentleman caller. She has quite a few.
Mr. Yeet. Mr. Yeet
Yeet.
himself. Yeet.
Yeet.
On that note, bro, let's get on to the next match. We
Uh-huh.
got Braun Breaker and Sami Zayn.
Mhm.
You know, I feel bad for Sami Zayn. And the reason
Mhm.
why I'm saying this is he's been part of some great storylines.
Mhm.
And I felt when they put the championship and it's kind of the championship on him, I felt it was just to keep him interesting,
Mhm.
in my opinion. Because after that Bloodline story, after winning the tag team championships with Kevin Owens against the Usos, he
Right.
doesn't. I'm not saying he doesn't have value to the WWE. He does have a lot of value to the WWE, and we probably gonna see his value come Survivor Series again.
Mhm.
But this is a tricky situation when you write a guy into wrote a guy into a great story of the Bloodline, and
Mhm.
his presence elevated that story even more
Mhm.
and put him in main event status.
Right.
And you see him slowly go back into the mid card situation, Intercontinental Championship, U.S. Championship. Now his job right now is to what's to put Braun Breaker over.
Right.
Okay, WrestleMania was too soon for Braun Breaker to win that title. It was too
Mhm.
soon.
Mhm.
Um, but coming to SummerSlam, he was gonna win that. He was gonna win that belt.
Mhm.
We all knew it. We all saw it coming. But now my thing is about this match. It was a good match. Sami
Mhm.
Zayn, you can't knock his performance.
No.
Braun Breaker is he's ready for the big time. He's always been ready for the big time.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Um, where do you go from here with these two gentlemen here?
Mhm.
First give me your thoughts on the match. Second, where do you go? Where do you go forward from here with these two men?
Sami Zayn. I kind of look at him as a also ran. Also
Mm,
ran. He's in there. He's a contender, but does he have that pop? Does he generate the crowd like that? Yeah, he does some spectacular moves in like spontaneous, and I
mm-hmm,
love it. It's electric in the time frame that he's executing.
mm-hmm,
Um, but does he have that fan draw? Like, what are you building out of the Sami Zayn character? Like, what are you trying to get from the audience?
mm-hmm,
What do you want the audience to receive from you?
mm-hmm,
I don't get I don't get that part of it. And maybe that's a part of why it's falling flat as far as the writing is concerned and where to place him in this that. Of course, this match was a great match. They worked well off of each other. There wasn't any botch ups that I could see in the match. It was fluid.
mm-hmm,
Very strong movements,
mm-hmm,
very from both of
mm-hmm,
them. And if there was a mess up, because I do recall like there was a close call, but they covered it up so well in communicating with one another that they just kept it fluid.
mm-hmm,
So from the avid fan that's just sitting there watching, oh my God, this is a great match. But
mm-hmm.
somebody a little bit more technical be like, nah, that was okay, you got that. It was one of those moments, but um, I see why Braun Breaker they gave him the Intercontinental belt. You could move him up. There's something we could do with this character. You got the fans involved in it. A little bit of old school meeting the new school with
Mm-hmm.
that. Caught the Steiner, or it was the Frankenstein off the top rope.
Oh,
That
that's
shit was
legendary.
that shit was crazy because he
Mm-hmm,
did jump step with that bitch.
mm-hmm.
He did a jump step with that bitch and then executed the move, and I was like, oh shit. Like
So,
it it almost reminded me of what Taz used to do on the room in the ring back in the day.
mm-hmm,
Like he would have like an explosive move, and then you'd be like, "Oh shit, you did that to a big dude."
mm-hmm.
But he did it off the fucking top rope. He ran up the top rope and fucking did the move, and I was just like, yeah, I can see why they're giving you the Intercontinental belt.
Mm-hmm.
You ready? You ready? You hungry for it? He got the crowd working. He got the crowd involved, and they were backing him as far as that was concerned. So yeah, I can see what they're doing. As far as Sami Zayn, I want to see more. Maybe go to the gym, build yourself up a little bit more too. Are you gonna be more of a high flyer? Are you gonna follow like a Edge and Christian type deal? What are you going for?
Mm-hmm.
What are you going for? You gotta find out what you're doing. Are you gonna be a technical wrestler? Are you gonna be a brawler? You gotta figure out what it is that you're gonna do.
Right.
And then maybe as writers in the WWE, they could figure out where to put you in the pocket. Because if we can't put you in now, maybe down the line we have something for you. But we have to find a niche to put you in.
Yeah, I'm going to speak on the writers a little bit later in the podcast once we do the full recap because we're not going to spend too much time because
Okay.
this SummerSlam was only 6 matches. We used to
Yeah.
have it a SummerSlam 10 to 12 matches.
10 to
So this
12.
was it was a very short SummerSlam match wise, not
Mhm.
time wise, match wise.
Mhm.
Um, so let's move on because I got some ideas about Sami Zayn and Braun Breaker where you could go from there.
Okay.
Um, now let's talk about Logan Paul and L.A. Knight.
Mm. Yeah.
Yeah, those two guys is all about mic skills. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm not.
The
I love
the
Logan
battle of
Paul's
the mic.
yeah, I love Logan Paul's mic skills. He's exquisite. He's extremely talented guy in the ring. Granted, for a guy who only wrestled, how many matches he
Mhm.
wrestled in? 5 matches ever. Um,
Mm.
Plus, he had his people there from his podcast, interfering in
Right.
the match and doing all that fun
Right.
stuff.
Right.
But yeah, but my thing is with L.A. Knight. He does
And
nothing.
Prime. You can't forget Prime.
Prime, yeah, that prime shit, yeah.
his his Prime energy drink. You can't take that out of the equation. Go
No,
ahead. I'm sorry.
you're good. You're good. You're good. You're good. But my thing is though, what do you see in LA Knight that prompts him to get these big storylines
Mm.
outside the mic skills?
um, he has an attitude that
Mm-hmm.
people follow,
Mm-hmm.
like uh, a macho man type charisma, maybe
Mm-hmm.
a Stone Cold Steve Austin type charisma.
Mm-hmm.
When he's walking down the ring to the ring, you know something's gonna happen.
Mm-hmm.
Something. So he has that going for him. Should he be a heel?
They tried it. They tried it, but I don't think the fans is gonna let him turn heel. He has
Nah.
a
I,
he has a following. He does have a
he
following.
he should be an anti-heel. Like he should fall
Anti-hero.
in that the anti-hero. He should be an anti-hero, but be in that cusp. Follow like a Randy Orton. Follow that path like a Randy Orton.
Mm-hmm.
Where, oh, we thought you were a good guy, but you bad. Yeah, that's the pocket for you.
Got some bad
Yeah.
guy tendencies.
Yeah, you have some
Every
bad guys. You have some bad guy tendencies, and it would amplify your character.
mm-hmm.
It would amplify your character by making him a anti-hero. Would amplify his character, no
Mm-hmm.
doubt.
I felt his wrestling has gotten better. I'm got to
Yeah,
give him credit for that, but not where you should he should be in the running for a world title, a main event title right now.
right.
So I believe, like I said, we're gonna go back to Braun Breaker. Think Braun Breaker is gonna leapfrog him very soon, next couple of
Hmm.
months, um, for that world title picture. You
I
understand what I'm
can see
saying?
it.
So I don't want to spend too much time on Logan Paul. The only thing I do enjoy in the match was that Logan Paul is
He
no longer
lost
the
his
United
title.
States champion. No longer the
he
United States
lost.
champion.
He lost his title. Oh.
That's probably the most that's probably the worst thing you could ever do to a U.S. championship. A mid card title
Hmm.
was being defended part time. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
For me, as far as the meaning, the meaning, the definition of a U.S. championship, I felt Austin Theory had a better run as U.S. champion than Logan Paul. Not
Okay.
not the excitement, but as far as the foundation or what you're looking for the U.S. champion, the mid card champion, he was out there defending that title
Right.
more than Logan
He's
Paul.
putting in the work.
Yeah, he was putting the work. Uh, so let's get on to the next match. We didn't talk about this before we got on the air, which
Mhm.
is CM Punk, Drew McIntyre,
Mhm.
Seth freaking Rollins, special guest referee.
Mhm.
Very if anything, a storytelling during a match. In that match, you saw the storytelling between all three men,
Right.
and it moved fluidly. We we,
Right.
we noticed with Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan, the match was fluid, the storytelling
Mhm.
was fluid,
Mhm.
but this match right here, CM Punk, Drew McIntyre, Seth Rollins, the storytelling throughout that match and where the story could lead after that match could be. It was so beautiful.
Right.
Drew McIntyre deserved that win
Okay.
because he'd been losing a lot.
Yeah.
I
See how
felt he
long
had
he keeps the title.
yeah. He could have beaten Seth Rollins a long time ago,
Mhm.
but you know I don't like the fact when you put a title on someone like Drew McIntyre during the COVID era, and then he
Mm.
never gets the opportunity to hold that title again when you're out of COVID.
Mm.
You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
I don't like that. I felt he's a main event guy.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? But it was a very good match. Hit CM Punk with the Claymore. He got CM Punk
Mhm.
got distracted with Seth Rollins. CM Punk got emotional during the match.
Mhm.
That which is part of the storytelling.
Right.
Um,
Well,
oh,
based on his history too, so
yep.
kind of putting a little realness
Mm-hmm.
into the storytelling. I got you.
Mm-hmm. Trying to do a GTS on Seth Rollins. Seth
Mhm.
Rollins reluctantly counts to three when Drew McIntyre hits him with the Claymore
Mhm.
after giving him a low blow,
Mhm.
mind you, and
Right.
then he wins the match and all that thing with the bracelet with AJ Lee's name on the bracelet, his dog and
Right.
shit on it, just taunting CM Punk. You know what I'm saying? It was that match itself was some great theater,
Right.
and it culminated to a Monday Night Raw that continued that. Now
Mm.
we're gonna talk about that later,
Okay.
but that was a good setup for that Monday Night Raw that came up next.
Okay.
All right, so we go from that match. Now we go to the other women's championship match, SmackDown
Mhm.
Championship. Bayley versus Queen Nia Jax.
Good return for Nia Jax.
Very good return. Very good
Yep.
return.
She lost weight.
Mm-hmm.
She looks at a comfortable weight right now, ring wise, where she's able to move more fluently.
Let me tell you something. If she loses more weight, she'd be the baddest chick in WWE.
I agree.
You know what I'm saying?
I agree.
Over Jade, she jaded Bianca.
Mm. Okay. I could
Mm-hmm.
see it. It'd be
Definitely.
interesting to see. Definitely interesting to see.
Mm-hmm.
That was a great. It was a great match. It was a great match. I kind of predicted the outcome on that.
Mm-hmm.
Bailey, we really didn't see no. We haven't seen Bailey really lately, unless she was on Raw or SmackDown that I didn't see. But I haven't really seen her like that. So for Nia Jax to come back and get the women's championship, then she must be ready.
Right. The
And
only negative about this match was not enough story build up to the match.
right,
It pretty
I
much
didn't
was just
understand.
thrown together.
Hmm.
Bailey knew her role that she was going to lose. She's supposed to lose to Nia Jax. She knew her role.
Right,
And did a hell of a match. She did wrestle a great match. One thing about Bailey is when she's in that ring, she's gonna give you a quality match.
right. It was a
She,
quality match. There's no taking away from the women in the
mm-mm,
ring. That was a great match. I'm just
mm-hmm.
saying this. We get back to the storytelling. The storytelling, it was just like, yeah, but how's this fit in moving forward, how we putting this in the storyline moving forward?
It
Like,
wasn't. Sorry.
uh, are we phasing Bailey out? That's what we're doing right now. We're phasing Bailey out to make way for upcoming matches, maybe with Jade Cargill or Naomi or whoever,
Mm-hmm.
um, down the line.
Mm-hmm.
I was as lost as you were as far as
Mm-hmm.
the but the match was great.
Right. Not from the see the thing for Bailey is Bailey the story. The story plot was a letdown from her and Io Sky when she won at WrestleMania. That was a story that was built up perfectly.
Hmm.
Then after she got the title, everything just went flatline a little bit.
Right,
In my opinion, as a writer, you can't let that happen.
right,
You cannot let that happen. Is it because do the WWE need to hire more writers, get in some fresh ideas?
right,
Because when you're doing a premium live event, you got to have 10 matches. You can't have 6 matches.
right. Yeah,
There's too many.
was this like a thrown together at the last minute too? Because I've heard stories about writers having to write at the last minute,
Mm-hmm.
coming up with ideas and stuff like that at last minute. Yeah, they do have writers' room, and they do prep for these events and stuff like that. But it could be on the day of, right before, they have to come up with something on the spot.
Mm-hmm.
So is this one of those victim situations in the writing department? Because we don't really know about the behind the scenes. All we see is what the show shows us
Mm-hmm.
and how it comes across to the audience.
Right. Right. So we'll see. I do smell if I was writing it now, I could
Hmm.
write a story about the dissension between Nia Jax and Tiffany Stratton.
Yeah.
I can see that right now. Tiffany was trying her hardest to cash in on the Money in the Bank during
Hmm.
that match. If you didn't catch that, you know what I'm saying? She a cutie too. She a cutie too. She doesn't
Yeah.
need a. If she had a derriere, she wouldn't be allowed in the hood because then she'll get jumped. But I'm just saying. But yeah, I could see a storyline between Nia Jax and Tiffany later because you gotta give Nia Jax a good strong 6 month run as world champion,
Right.
6 to 9 month run. I'm not into the business of swapping championships every
No.
4 months, like what happened to our boy that we're gonna talk about next.
Mm.
But I did understand why they did it.
Okay.
But I still felt fucked up about it
Yeah,
that
we'll
he
get
only
to
held the
that
title
because
for 4 months. 4 months. As we segue into Damian Priest
hmm
versus Gunther.
Gunther.
Very good match between both gentlemen. I just felt that the title change happened too soon, but if it wasn't going to happen in SummerSlam, when was it going to happen?
Right.
To be honest with you.
And you had to. All right. This is my biggest thing. You're coming off you're coming off a build up. You're
Mm-hmm.
building this champion up.
Mm-hmm.
He has a documentary out. It's
Yep.
being advertised on SummerSlam.
Yep.
A champion that came from nothing. He came all the way up to the championship and this, that, and the third. And he loses the title? The championship?
That documentary should have came out after WrestleMania, not after SummerSlam or close to SummerSlam when you knew he was going to lose that belt to Gunther. There was no
I say
way.
you
There was
can't
no
do
way.
that. You can't do that. You fucking you hurt the fans in two ways. You just said
Mhm.
basically this champion ain't shit.
Yeah, but he created a love amongst the fans now. And now, as you segue
Yeah.
to, we're going to talk about Monday Night Raw because there's two big things that happened in Monday Night Raw was Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley, Gunther, and his
Okay.
future opponent.
Hmm.
We'll get to that, and Seth Rollins and CM Punk.
Okay. Okay.
But Like I said, Finn Balor now cost cost Damon Priest the championship. Now you got the storyline between Priest and Balor.
Right.
You know what I'm
Which
saying?
is cool.
It's
I,
nice.
I,
It's nice.
it's it's cool. I'll take it. I really don't like his fucking character. I'm gonna be perfectly honest with you. I
Who
just
Finn?
don't like him. Yeah, I don't like him. I don't like him, and it's not his wrestling skills. It's not. I just don't like the character. His character, I just don't know what we're going for. Like
Yeah.
I can't put him in a category right now. I don't know where we're going with him. One
I
minute
think
you're like a fucking leprechaun.
mhm,
Next minute like an evil fucking leprechaun. And the next minute you're a heel. Like you're right in the pocket. You don't know what you want to be.
mhm.
Oh god.
I think unfortunately that injury he had many years ago when he won
Mhm.
the belt, the
Mhm.
world belt
Okay.
against Seth Rollins. I think that he has. I don't think the WWE ever recovered from that. So I believe they had big plans for him when he first
Okay.
won the world title back then.
So maybe this is like their chance at a reboot.
Possibly, but do you want El Capione taking more L's? This is what you're
Right.
dealing with now.
Right.
You got to keep Damien Priest's momentum up because he still has to get his rematch.
Right. As he
Still
should.
still got to get
And
his rematch.
the other thing I gotta say about this, how is he gonna lose to somebody who was injured? Gunther was injured from the last match. He came in injured. You could visibly see it.
Mm-hmm. Well, what's on his chest, man?
Come on,
Bleeding
man. He's
out.
bleeding.
Yo,
2 shots in, he's bleeding.
yo. But let me tell you something. Them fucking one thing I don't like about Gunter is too much chopping. The whole match is about chopping and
Right.
trying to take
It's about
somebody's.
chopping.
I was like, yo,
Like you want to do a bare chest? That's on you, bro. I'm doing it with my shit on.
yo, David
I
Priest was
got.
smart. He was
He
smart. He had
was.
that shit. He had that shit on. He had that
That
shit
leather's
on.
gonna
For,
protect. That leather's gonna protect the skin. It's gonna hurt, but it ain't gonna hurt as much as your fucking bare flesh. And I
mm-hmm.
seen some nail marks in that bitch. I was like, damn.
Yo, that. I mean, it was a good match.
It
It
was a
was a good
good
match.
match.
It was a good match.
I can't take nothing away from the gentleman that in the wrestling match. It was a good match, but I was just disappointed. I want to see Damian Priest carry that championship a little bit longer.
Me
Um,
too.
if if you're gonna tell me that then down the line there's a build up to something else, okay, I'm along for the ride. But I
Mm-hmm.
felt this was a little bit too soon. I'm on that train, and my feelings were hurt. Fuck y'all.
Joey G spoke speaking like a true Boricua. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
That's
So
two.
it's
That's two bodies in one night. Fuck y'all.
You know what I'm saying? Shout out to El Capione, Damian Priest from the Bronx, the Boogie Down
Right.
Bronx. Definitely check out his documentary. I want to watch that shit. I want to see his full story. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's a just story of triumph and going through the darkest place you could be and then finding dig himself up to becoming a world champion. That's beautiful.
Right.
You know what I'm
And
saying?
it and that's something I want to look for. I look forward to seeing it too. And looking at it, I was like, I've seen him before.
Mm-hmm.
In his earlier days, I've seen him before. I just didn't recognize him now. Like
Mm-hmm.
when they put the side by side, I was just like, oh shit. You are basically a student of The Undertaker.
Yes.
You were a student of The Undertaker. I can see it now. It makes sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
With the only thing you added to that was a little bit more high flying. While The
Mm-hmm.
Undertaker is not a high flyer, he can get up on the ropes.
Yep, you can.
He's a tightrope specialist. Don't get it twisted. But Damon Priest adds a little something with that high flying.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, he has a lot of potential.
Mm-hmm.
Moving in the storyline in WWE, I'd love to see where they're going to take his character. I felt this was a little bit too soon as far as the championship, him losing that, but I'm along for the ride. I'm just gonna I'm gonna take the L with y'all
Mm-hmm.
and sit in the corner and just ride this out and see what happens.
Well, that's the only thing we can do. There's nothing we can do to change it.
Mm,
But let's get on to the last match.
mm,
Cody Rhodes
mm.
versus Solo Sikoa.
Right.
Bloodline rules.
Mm,
You know, my issue is with this match. It was a well thought of story match.
mm,
But for a main event match, I felt it was flat until the return of the OTC.
mm.
Until the return of Roman Reigns. For
Okay.
me, the match was a flat match.
Cody Rhodes did as much as he possibly could to keep the momentum of the match.
Mm-hmm.
Solo Sikoa looked like he was injured on his right hip,
Mm-hmm.
but he was trying to work through it.
Mm-hmm.
There was something wrong with him on his right
Yeah.
hip. I know it was something on his right hip because he kept holding his side every once in a while, and you
Mm-hmm.
could see it. He was trying to work through the pain and try to fight through it, but he was injured.
Mm-hmm.
He was injured. So the explosiveness that we were used to getting from him, we weren't.
Mm-hmm.
Then I guess in the process of going through this pain, there was some moments in the match where it was like, what should I do? You could see it visibly.
Mm-hmm.
You could see it like, oh shit, what should I do next? What should I do next?
Mm-hmm.
Cody, being the more experienced wrestler in the ring, was like, let me keep this going. Like he
Mm-hmm.
was catching on that something was wrong. I'll work with him, but he's not communicating as much as I would like him to communicate,
Right.
if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Um, some there was some good moves in there, but like I say, yeah, I'm gonna say that that match was a little bit flat until we get to the bloodline coming in the ring,
Yeah.
and
Tama Tonga and
and
Kevin Owens came in.
yeah, that's I love. Like I said, I've said this before on the podcast. I love watching Kevin Owens come in because I know we're gonna get that adrenaline rush we're looking for.
Mm-hmm.
He brings that with him. Oh
Mm-hmm.
shit, explosiveness, bam, 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 bam. Okay, we're beating ass,
Mm-hmm.
and then it gets to the point where he gets reversed. Now he's beat up.
Yeah.
That is typical.
Mm-hmm.
Typical writing for Kevin Owens is he's gonna come in and beat everybody up, and there's
Mm-hmm.
one guy that's just gonna get the best of him and do the same move he was doing when he first came out.
Mm-mm-mm. Now, let me ask you. Let me tell you. I'm drawing a blank right now. Did Randy Orton come out on that match too or no?
Yes.
Okay,
Hmm.
and he was fighting Jacob. Who caught the splash from the table from Jacob Fatu splash body, which we saw the injury to his leg.
Yeah, that was an injury. Now, during that injury, if you
Mm-hmm.
go back and you watch it, he
Mm-hmm.
came down on the table, but
Yeah.
his ankle was kind of like his leg was kind of out
Mm-hmm.
and it was kind of tucked. Like
Mm-hmm.
his leg was kind of tucked. So when the table collapsed, it landed on his leg with the body weight,
Ooh.
with everybody's body weight.
Mm.
So if you notice when he first gets up, he tries to walk it off and
Mm.
realizes that shit is gone.
Yeah.
And that's why he stumbles. So he grabs the chair to play it off and throw it off to the side.
Mm-hmm.
When he tried to step on it again, he realized, nah, I don't have nothing on this leg. Fuck.
Mm-hmm.
He's thinking career wise, fuck, I'm out of this shit again. I
Right.
just came back.
Right.
But his professionalism kicks in. It's like, beat that nigga's ass. The professionalism kick. So, if anything, he saved
Mm-hmm.
himself in that because he kept it professional and he kept it moving.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he did injure himself, but I'm pretty sure they're gonna find a way to get him back sooner if they can, as opposed to giving him a long stretch.
I'm hoping he comes back by SummerSlam to do the Civil War. That's what I'm hoping for.
He's gonna that ankle injuries. It depends on how he injured his ankle. I can't tell you because looking at it, I don't know if he twisted it really bad or I don't know if it was like a bone break.
Mm-hmm.
Or a bad bruise. Like if you get a bone bruise, that shit
Mm-hmm.
hurts. It's close to a break.
Mm-hmm.
I've had that before. It's close to a break. You can't really stand on it. It's gonna take some time to heal. Will it heal? Yeah. I can't say really how fast. How far out do you see the next main event?
Well, he's not gonna be in the next PLE. The next
No.
big event is Survivor Series. That's in November. He
Too
got
soon.
about 3 months.
Too soon. We're looking probably after January. Sometime
Look
after
at
January.
Jacob Fatu returning in Royal Rumble.
I can see Royal Rumble.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at Royal Rumble would probably be the best bet for the right amount of time to heal and everything like that.
Mm. But during that match, bro, Roman Reigns makes his return. The OTC wearing the shirt
Man.
OTC,
Mhm.
and the pop he got in that match.
Mhm.
Granted, because of the injury to Jacob Fatu, I
Mhm.
felt you should have pivoted his return and not make him
Right.
return.
Mhm.
Because when he came down to the ring, he looked lost. I'm not saying he played it off, but his return was meant to go after Jacob Fatu and then take care of Solo.
Right.
So that element was taken away.
Right.
I felt if I was in WWE and I saw that happen, if I'm behind the scenes in production, I see that happen. I'm
Mhm.
pivoting to get Jimmy Uso in there.
Right.
I'm pivoting quick.
Right.
Then you could bring Roman Reigns out. You have to find someone else to come out there and fight Jimmy Uso. Then you bring Roman Reigns out.
Right.
There was a period that you had to make that pivot quickly instead of him going
Mhm.
out the straight because now his entrance was even longer now
Mhm.
going into the ring.
Right.
Cody Rhodes and Solo Sikoa is both laying in the ring,
Right.
face down.
Right.
And then Roman Reigns comes to the ring slowly. Cody didn't know. Cody played it off very well. He didn't know if
Right.
he
He
was coming
did.
after him or coming after Solo. But Solo knew he was coming after he was that Roman was coming after him. Then he
Right.
saw the traditional Superman punch, the crowd's going crazy,
Mhm.
56,000 going crazy, and then he's getting
Right.
ready to do the spear, and he does ooh ah, the whole arena, the whole stadium shook. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? And he did that spear,
Mhm.
and then he stares at Cody, looks down at Cody like, all right, I'm not gonna do it to you now.
Right.
I'm going to acknowledge you now. But it
Right.
comes to a point you're going to acknowledge me again.
Right.
So you have an opportunity now with two stories. But I
Yeah.
think I think I think they're gonna spare Cody for the Rock. That's gonna be the
Mm.
Rock and Cody story. Um,
Okay.
in the meantime, I can smell it. I can see it going. Before we talk about the end of the match, Cody winning the match and all that stuff and doing his thing, I could
Mhm.
see where the Rock may win the championship one more time.
Okay. It would make sense for him to get the championship and then surrender the championship.
No, not surrender it. Win it at
Or are you
Royal
gonna lose
Rumble.
it?
Win it at Royal Rumble.
Okay.
Roman Reigns wins the Royal Rumble.
Hmm.
Then everyone gets the WrestleMania they've been wanting for the past 2 years.
Oh, The Rock versus Roman.
Yeah,
Okay. The passing, basically the passing of the torch.
exactly. You do the passing of the torch,
Mm.
and you go from there.
You know what? Another thing I noticed, before we pivot, um,
Mm-hmm.
Cody Rhodes. He's known as the Nightmare, the American Nightmare, and I just
Yes.
realized that Dusty Rhodes was the American Dream.
Right.
I was like, yo, if he was still alive, that shit would fucking be awesome to have
Mm-hmm.
father and son in the ring doing a tag team. And it's like, yo, that shit was set up perfect.
Mm-hmm.
That would have been a perfect tag team,
Mm-hmm.
father and son tag team.
The dream and a nightmare all
Right,
at the
the
same
dream and the
time.
nightmare. Yeah.
But yo, let's check it out because we don't have much time left, bro. We're gonna pivot quickly. to the
Okay.
aftermath
Mm-hmm.
of the SummerSlam.
Okay.
A couple of new storylines comes up now.
Oh,
Rhea
this
Ripley,
is this is your expertise. I'm sorry, I
yes,
was not able to watch, but please do continue.
I got you. I got you. Well, the one thing that stood out to me was Rhea Ripley and Damian Priest were officially kicked out of the Judgment Day.
Mm.
So you got Dirty Dom, JD McDonough, Carlito, and Finn Balor, and Dirty Dom and Liv Morgan.
Mm.
Now as New Judgment Day, Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley, full face wrestlers, good guys.
Mm-hmm.
Now you got their story in the meantime, while Damian Priest trying to get his rematch with Gunther. Now Gunther, after winning the championship, now Randy Orton steps up. Now that's the storyline between Gunther and Randy Orton for the World
Mm.
Championship for the next PLE.
That'll be a strong match. Now it
Exactly.
depends. It's a strong match. It just depends on what the writers are gonna do with it.
Mm-hmm.
It depends on what the writers are gonna do with it because Randy Orton is a strong character.
Mm-hmm.
It, you can't treat him like a fly by night, and that's
No,
what I don't want to see.
I see this. I see this feud could go into Royal Rumble.
Okay.
I can see this feud go into Royal Rumble,
Okay.
and then you could set up possibly a Randy Orton versus. I'm gonna say Randy Orton versus if Randy Orton could beat Gunther,
Hmm.
which I'm not. I don't think they're gonna do it. I don't think they're gonna put the belt on Randy Orton.
Hmm.
Either way, Damien Priest is coming back along that way for that title, in my opinion.
Okay.
In my
Gotcha.
opinion, then you could set up WrestleMania with him and Braun Breaker, and Braun
Mm.
Breaker could win the title from Damien Priest at WrestleMania next year.
Mm. Okay.
That's the way I would do it.
Sounds good.
That's the way I would do it. Just gotta create the. You just gotta make the storyline make the storyline make it sense. And another thing, another story, new storyline that we've been waiting for this match, bro. I've been screaming for this match for so many years. We could be on the cusp of actually having it.
Okay.
Seth freaking Rollins
Mm.
versus CM Punk.
Mm.
That story is about to build up into a raging inferno, but you still got Drew McIntyre lurking.
Right.
So it is that those 3 men still intertwined in the storyline up until whenever you want to cancel that, whenever you want to stop that storyline.
Hmm.
Um, I'm excited to see what it's going to look like, but tomorrow is SmackDown,
Okay.
so we're gonna see what happens to SmackDown. There was a big trade that happened on Monday Night Raw that
Mm.
kind of affects the Bloodline story, the
Okay.
pending Civil War.
Mm.
Austin Theory,
Hmm.
Waller goes to Raw.
Hmm.
Sami Zayn, Jey Uso go to SmackDown.
Mm.
So it's slowly setting up the Bloodline Civil War now,
Mm.
which the fourth man could be Sami Zayn for the Usos and Roman Reigns. Bring that band back. Of course, Paul Heyman. We haven't heard from Paul Heyman yet, so I'm quite
Right.
sure he'll be back soon as well.
Mm.
But before we end the podcast, bro,
Okay.
I was very disappointed in the WWE, and
Okay.
I think this is going to have to be another podcast we have to have another podcast.
Okay.
Our black brethren
Mm.
did not have a single representation in SummerSlam. There was no Bianca
Oh.
Belair.
Hmm.
There was no Jade Cargill.
Mm.
There was no Jey Uso.
Right.
People who were involved in big storylines were not
Right.
involved in SummerSlam.
Right.
And it culminated before that because you saw MVP saying some stuff about WWE, saying it's racist. Bobby Lashley chooses not to resign. Chooses not to resign.
Mm.
They fumbled his storyline up
Hmm.
because if there's any time you should sign Bobby Lashley,
Hmm.
is now. For me as a writer,
Hmm.
once the dust settles from Bloodline Civil War,
Hmm.
You slowly build up the Hurt Business back with the original crew.
Right.
The original Hurt Business crew, Shelton Benjamin and Cedric Alexander,
Mm.
MVP, Bobby Lashley, and Omos, the big tall Omos,
Mm. Okay.
against the newly formed bloodline after the Civil War. That's where everything should start. And that's where everything should start officially between the two factions.
Mm.
But in the meantime, I would write it in the way that the Hurt Business will interfere in each of the bloodline factions in all their matches,
Mm.
be an interference,
Right.
some way, shape, or form,
The draw.
to draw it.
Mm-hmm.
And now I mentioned Rock versus Roman Reigns,
Mm-hmm.
WrestleMania, next WrestleMania,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Prediction.
Prediction.
Mm-hmm.
After the torch is passed to Roman from The Rock,
Mm-hmm.
Bobby Lashley ambushes him at the end of the match.
Mm-hmm.
Bam, storyline
Right.
starts. You could put the storyline in which that Roman Reigns has never beaten Bobby Lashley in a match. You could
Right.
put that in the storyline to build it up.
Right.
Create a series of matches back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
Then the following WrestleMania, after that, Roman loses the belt to Bobby Lashley. There you have it.
Mm.
You have the Hurt Business. You have the Hurt Business taking on Jacob Fatu and Tama Tonga for the World Tag Team Championship.
Mm-hmm.
Do that.
Okay.
There's a lot of shit you could do, bro. A lot of shit you
Right.
could do, but the problem is either WWE does not have enough writers, or the
Mm-hmm.
writers are just too lazy to write a storyline for every wrestler that's on the roster.
Mm. Or or is it just a focus group? Like, I, are they so narrow-minded in the focus of certain characters that they leave out the rest and just use the other ones as fillers? Like, I can't tell you what's going on behind the scenes. We, like we said, we can only see what's going on from the fans' perspective watching the show. But
Mm-hmm.
there's certain aspects of it I would like to know about behind the scenes on how it works,
Mm-hmm.
and how to get something like that implemented, because it does sound like a great build up for something uh, grand down the line. Um, you're touching base on what you said about racism in the WWE coming to the SummerSlam. This is an Ohio match. This is a
Mm-hmm.
red state. Everybody knows this is a red state. It
Mm-hmm.
could be seen in the crowd with sprinkles of of minority in there, and people of other nationalities. You can see it in there, but
Mm-hmm.
predominantly it's a red state, and maybe that's why I felt cold in the beginning. There's certain wrestlers they did not care about, and Damian Priest was one of those characters going down to the ring. They were just like, yeah, it's whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Like literally looking at him like he's nobody.
Right.
And I've never seen that from a wrestler going down to the ring and the crowd be that way towards a wrestler.
Mm-hmm.
Were there other wrestlers? Yeah, but I think Damian Priest was my biggest, what I noticed around him. And this
Mm-hmm.
is a cameraman's job, and whoever's in production, if we see that reaction to the crowd, and we're watching as the camera, who's ever in production should make a different camera angle or something so that's not seen.
Right.
It was seen.
Right.
Production wise, you can't do that.
No, you can't do that production wise. No.
And this is a championship. This is a champion. Your champion is walking down, regardless of how you feel and everything like that. Whatever
Mm-hmm.
the case may be, his race, whatever. This is a champion walking to the ring.
Exactly.
He should be treated as such. Period. Because
Facts.
if it was any other wrestler, you would do the same. You would go out of your way to do that.
Mm-hmm. Hell, how about Hulk Hogan? They did that for Hulk Hogan, even though he had no business winning
Please.
the championship.
As many disgraceful things as Hulk Hogan has done in his career,
Mm-hmm.
they still hold him in high regard of how he was held up.
Mm-hmm.
Even when he lost, how he was held up. His
Mm-hmm.
draw was that. That's
Mm-hmm.
what it was. Even when he turned heel, his draw was still there
Mm-hmm.
because he had such a build and a following for so long. He
Mm-hmm.
can't do no wrong.
Can't do
Now,
no wrong.
in contrast to him, you had Randy Savage.
Mm-hmm.
Randy Savage did wrong. Oh, he's not Hulk Hogan, so we're gonna be treating him wrong.
Well, they treat him bad too because Randy Macho Man Savage was Sicilian, so
I'm
mm,
just I'm
yeah,
I'm just saying I'm just saying the contrast.
yeah,
To me, he had just as much draw as Hulk Hogan did.
oh, big
If
time,
not, he should have had more.
big time.
He should have had
Macho
more.
Macho Man
And he
Randy
went.
Savage was a movement.
It was a movement. His biggest match that I like watching when he was still skinny,
Mm-hmm.
before he started lifting the weights,
Mm-hmm.
him and what's
Steamboat.
his name, Ricky Steamboat. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Bro, we have a lot to talk about on that next podcast, next episode. I
Ooh.
don't know if it's going to be the part 5, but we'll see. But we have to talk about this situation with the racism that's going on in WWE. I want to have more guests on the show just to talk about that, definitely, because it's glaring. And I didn't see that from Triple H, but I didn't see it from Triple H, but I say I do see it, and it has to be called out on.
If it's
And
if it's a production thing, it's a writing thing. It has to be nipped in the bud. It has to be even keel across the board.
right,
It has to be even keel across the board. We're talking about production. And if we're talking stories, then we got to treat it like Game of Thrones. Everybody got to have their shine.
exactly,
Everybody has to have their shine. Regardless if
exactly.
you like them or you dislike them, whatever the case may be, they all have to have their shine because it adds to their characters. If these are
Hmm.
the superstars that you put in front of the camera, they should be held in that regard, period.
Right.
Regardless of race, nationality, or affiliation, whatever the
Hmm.
case may be, in front of that camera, they should be held in high regard. If these are
Absolutely.
the superstars you presenting that you want us to be involved in and be super glued to the TV, then you're gonna have to present them in that manner. All superstars. And I'm gonna say, yes, the superstars that I'm looking at are the people that have a little bit more melanin in their skin to have more shine in WWE. There's no question about that. That's been ongoing for years now. We've seen great wrestlers and superstars pushed to the backgrounds and other people put to the forefront. That, to be quite honest, like you said earlier, flat,
Flat. Yeah.
flat.
Yeah. On that note, bro, save it for that episode because we got a lot to talk about.
Hmm.
I'm definitely we're gonna talk about that definitely.
Hmm.
So on that note, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us on the part 4 of the True Players Podcast Anniversary Series. See man, Big Dom, Joey G, we about to sign off. I'll see y'all guys next episode. We got more stuff coming to you. Of course, I'm going to be joining Matthew from Jacob Sports Show. I will be a guest on his show. We're going to be talking about New York Mets baseball and racism in the baseball. How the African American, the black baseball player, is slowly becoming extinct. We're going to talk
Mm.
about that also on his podcast, which I'll be a guest on. Stay tuned to that episode, and we're going to see you guys on the next one. Holla
Mm.
at your boys. Big Dom, Joey G. Sign off. Peace.